What time is it?
Tea time!
Oh, yeah!
Welcome back to Tea Time. This is Trenton. I know it's been a long time coming. The wife's needed the laptop for school and such. And unfortunately, there was a lot going on. But this is just a quick episode 16. Get us re-caught up where we kind of left off and talk a little bit of March Madness here. But basically, what is it all that I missed in my month hiatus? Well, I picked the Patriots to win the Super Bowl over the Falcons. Originally, I had Packers. Obviously, that didn't work out. But when I went back to it, I went with the Patriots, and I was correct. I didn't think it was going to happen like that. I mean, Tommy Terrific is going to do what he does, and T-Bone led the biggest comeback in Super Bowl history, and, kudos to them. They did what they needed. And before I said the whole Roger Goodell thing with the Patriots doesn't matter. No one really cares that much. The fans care more about Tom Brady, the Patriots, or even Roger Goodell. And I was right. There was nothing exciting about any of that. And you can try and think Roger Goodell gave a crap. No, he didn't. That dude makes $20+ million a year. He doesn't give a crap. He does what he's told to do. He was told to punish Tom Brady, so he punished Tom Brady. And the whole situation is stupid, but it's over now. But I got that one right. The whole Charles Oakley situation was kind of dumb, so I'm not really going to talk a whole lot about that at all, other than the fact, banning Charles Oakley is stupid. Charles Oakley acting like he did was stupid, and that's pretty much all there was to that. Then we have the Shaquille O'Neal, JaVale McGee, Golden State Warriors beef. Once again, all stupid, but what Shaq does is Shaqtin' a fool, and he's funny, and he's, kind of a bully, not really. But the fact people got on him about threatening physical harm to McGee, he didn't threaten him. He basically made the comment, we meet outside, I can beat the crap out of you. But McGee was giving it just as much back, and then the Warriors got involved, and it was all dumb. But really, really the dumbest part of that whole thing was Kevin Durant criticizing Shaq's game. I don't know if you know this, but if you go back and YouTube Shaq highlights, clearly Kevin Durant needs to. Shaq wasn't just dominant. Shaq wasn't just a great player. Shaq could do a lot of things a lot of people can't do. Yeah, Shaq doesn't have an outside shot, and he can't shoot free throws. Big whoop. He could dunk and score on anyone he wanted at will. He ran fast breaks. He passed out of the post. Have you seen his ball handling skills? I mean, seriously, no 7'1", 300-pound center should be able to out-dribble a point guard. Yet he could. So Durant saying he's just a bigger than everybody and that's why he was so good, Durant's a moron. He needs to go back and look at some YouTube videos and realize, oops. And McGee, have a sense of humor. You've been on the Warriors for exactly, half a season. So to get out there and say, I have a voice now. Shut up. You're a bench warmer. You're giving good minutes to the Warriors, but you were brought in because you were super cheap because the Warriors didn't have enough money. If they could have got somebody else better than you, it's like, let's say Nene from the Houston Rockets, they would have. Or Roy Hibbert, they would have. Spencer Hawes, they would have. You weren't their top priority. You were just a guy they could bring in cheap. Bottom line there. And then the All-Star game was a joke as normal. I mean, nothing too exciting there. To make that more excitable, I mean, there's no way to do it. I mean, honestly, I'd almost be more in favor of, unlike baseball, but for the NBA All-Star game, winner gets home court advantage in the finals. Because it doesn't matter as much as it does in baseball, in my opinion. I think NBA teams have a better time traveling than baseball teams do. But you're never going to make it truly competitive because they're never going to implement that. The skills challenges were okay. They weren't, too exciting. Probably the most exciting thing about the entire All-Star game was the day after when it was announced Boogie Cousins was traded to the Pelicans. And I have no idea what on earth Vlade Divac was thinking trading DeMarcus Cousins for basically Buddy Hield. And I think a first-round draft pick was thrown in there, but they gave up a pick of their own as well. But you could have really got a lot more for Boogie Cousins. Like, seriously, call up the Blazers. They have 3 first-rounders. Yeah, none of the first-rounders are going to, from what it looks like, be, lottery picks, but that's still better than what you ended up getting. I mean, what were you thinking? Okay, you get Buddy Hield, and then you get Tyreek Evans back. Whoopee. I mean, great move for the Pelicans. I think it's going to take some time for them to figure out Boogie and Anthony Davis to play together. But ultimately, I think the better move for the Pelicans here is getting Boogie and then trading him next year. Just trade him. Get what you need to build around Anthony Davis. Straight up. Just build a better team around him. I think that's a better move because you basically got Boogie Cousins for nothing. If it ends up working out really well and they become a great tandem, the next David Robinson and Tim Duncan, then okay, kudos. If it's not working out, you're still going to get a lot for him. I mean, look at Boston. They'll give up something for him. Straight up. You still have the Blazers. You have the Nuggets. You have teams that will give you more than you gave. You basically gave up Buddy Hield, who I wasn't impressed with to begin with, to go get Boogie Cousins. Heck, call up the Pacers. Go get Paul George. Get him to sign an extension. That's worth it in itself. Maybe even Chicago and getting Jimmy Butler. But that's the NBA I have. Baseball to catch up on. They've talked about implementing some new rules, like the infamous runner on second and extra innings rule. That's kind of dumb. They're getting rid of the intentional walk of the 4 pitches. I mean, they're trying to make the game shorter, trying to make the game more exciting. At the same time, I mean, you kind of got to let it be at some point. If you really want to make moves to make it more competitive, you have to do something with the rosters. I mean, make the DH in both leagues. I'm sorry, I know it's a funner thing to watch, the pitcher and the double switches. I don't give a crap. Let the hitters hit. I'm not a fan of pitchers hitting at all. Even the best pitchers are still pretty much equivalent to the worst starting hitters. So really, and I would like to see Kershaw actually navigate more games of DHs because he only has to navigate, 15, maybe 30 games all season with a DH. Let's see him navigate a DH all year. Let's see if he really keeps that lower ERA, the high strikeout, because a hitter is a hitter, a pitcher is a pitcher. Bottom line. It's a lot harder for a starting pitcher to get past a DH. I have more kudos to American League pitchers than I do to National League pitchers because they have to face a real hitter. So make that into effect. Change the rosters. Make them 28 men. This has been on Adam DeBoll multiple times. But make 28-man rosters where 3 people are inactive, which will obviously be 3 starters will be inactive, and then you either can have an extra player or an extra bullpen arm, whatever it may be, and that will help the game along too. You'll have more skilled players, you'll have more bullpen arms, and more abilities to use people to make things work. And those are the real changes they should make. Don't make the strike zone smaller, or don't make the strike zone bigger. Don't lower the mound higher. Don't do any of that crap. Don't mess with the integrity of the game. Do things that make sense. And if you really are that worried about extra inning games, then allow the game to end in a tie. What's wrong with that? I mean, they allow ties in hockey and they allow ties in the NFL, as rare as they are in the NFL. But make it this way. Make it three innings. You're allowed to go to a max of 12 innings in a game. The aim goes to 12 innings and they're still tied. It's a tie game. Bottom line. That'll be a part of the record. It's a tie game. End it at that. Then that way you hit your time limit. It ends. The pitch clock, I'm not really a big fan of that. Limit how many times you can go to the mound in an inning. Give them timeout abilities. I like the instant replay. I like the challenges. Those need to stay. But those are just the small things you can do to fix the whole thing. To go back to the NFL real quick, something I didn't address. The whole quarterback situations right now in the NFL. This draft class is horrible for quarterbacks. Deshaun Watson's the only one I'm really looking at, but what do I know? I could totally see him falling to the Patriots in the second round, and God forbid that happen. But we have Tony Romo, Jay Cutler, and Colin Kaepernick. Kaepernick said he's no longer going to kneel down for the anthems. That's part of the thing that's kept him from being picked up so far, but I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue. Jay Cutler, I think, is the best quarterback left, unless Romo's healthy. I think Cutler would be a great fit for a Houston or a Denver team, even though Denver's not going to bring him back. I think Houston would be a good fit for him. Ultimately, I think Romo's the cream of the crop of what you need to get, and if I'm Houston, I'm chomping at the bit to try and go get him. But that's where those guys sit. I think Romo does end up in Houston. I really do. I think Cutler, if Romo doesn't end up in Houston, I think Cutler ends up in Houston. Cutler, I think, might end up signing with like the Niners or the Browns or someone just to be kind of a stopgap, or maybe he's willing to be a backup and he'll go be a backup somewhere. I don't think it would be a bad idea for the Vikings to go after him. But nonetheless there. Then there's the rumors of Marshawn Lynch possibly coming out of retirement to come play for the Raiders, which I think would be great. It's basically Raiders or bust for him, and it doesn't benefit Seattle to hold on to him either, because if they end up refusing to let him go, they have to pay him like $12 million. So I think that's not going to be a problem. He's going to get released by the Seahawks and maybe get a 7th-round pick, and then Lynch will end up with the Raiders. But going farther, that's basically all the catch-up we have. Actually, no, that's not true. We also have the possibility, it looks like Mayweather and Conor McGregor are actually going to finally happen. Who knows? We heard that about Pacquiao a million times. But if you've listened before, you know my opinions on that. I will watch, not because I think McGregor could win, but because McGregor has the ability to win. I think Mayweather wins this far and away, but I'm watching just for that chance. Maybe McGregor gets that punch off and knocks Mayweather out, because that would be hilarious. But let's do a quick ad break, and then I'm going to break down some March Madness. Trenton here from Tea Time with Trenton, Eugene Sports Podcast, and if you need to get around town, Eugene Hybrid Taxi is the way to go. They have fast and friendly drivers as well as awesome owners. I would know. I'm one of their drivers. Call dispatch and make appointments for airport pickups or just, someplace to get around town, maybe go to a Duck game. And if you happen to get me as your driver, you tell me what time it is, I'll give you 10% off your next fare. Eugene Hybrid Taxi. Clean, friendly, and reliable. All right, to finish up this catch-up show, I'm going to break down a little bit of March Madness for you. My brackets are not yet destroyed, but they're getting pretty darn close in a way. I'll tell you my final four that I basically had in my majority of my brackets, other than one work one I did extra. But I had Nova leaving the East, obviously a huge mistake. Then I had Arizona leaving the West, who I think still has the easiest path to the Final Four. I have North Carolina out of the South, which is nowhere near a guarantee. And I have Oregon coming out of the Midwest. Now, I have Oregon over Villanova, which obviously Villanova being eliminated in the second round really doesn't help me. And the really sad part is, moral of the story for filling out brackets, everybody, go with your gut, don't tinker. Whatever you put in first, that's where you need to leave it at. I tinkered with 3 teams, and they all ended up burning me. Originally, I was going to pick Villanova to lose to Wisconsin, but because, Villanova's been known to choke in the past, and that's what Nova does. They lose in the second round. But I thought legitimately, after winning the national title last year, having a lot of those players return, I honestly thought Nova was going to string together back-to-back great runs. Clearly, I shouldn't have tinkered with that. I kind of looking at my bracket as an overall going, I think Nova's going to go. I don't see Wisconsin making the Elite Eight. Well, I look dumb now. And then I had the other one I tinkered with is Notre Dame. I put them in the Elite Eight. And I don't know why. Because I don't trust Gonzaga. I don't. And I think that's part of the reason why they made it. I didn't believe in West Virginia either. So I'm pretty sure that's another tinker I probably should have not have messed with there. And then the other tinker was really just 2 games. I didn't pick a whole lot of upsets. I had a few upsets that I was looking at hard, and I ended up not going with them because I didn't think they would do it. And that was Middle Tennessee, and that was Rhode Island. Didn't really think about them. I didn't have any faith in them. I was close to picking them. I'm like, no, I think this is going to be a chalk year. Once again, don't tinker. My first instinct was picking those two teams, and I went against it. Don't do that. But, I mean, really, this is a national title for anybody at this point. I mean, there's a few teams I still don't have faith can win it all at this point. But I think Michigan's hot. South Carolina did the impossible to them. But really, I think it's either going to be the real contenders for the national title at this point, the ones that have the best shot, in my opinion. Oregon, Kansas, UCLA, North Carolina, Kentucky, and Arizona. Those are the only teams I truly have faith that can win it all right now. I could be gracefully wrong in West Virginia or Wisconsin, or something could happen. Michigan could stay hot. I don't know. Purdue won't become Purdue. That's just where I have it right now. That's what I think is going to happen. I think it's really between those, I think, 5 teams I just listed off. Yeah, 5. I really think it's between those 5 teams. And if I was to follow my gut instinct and tell you who I think is probably going to win, if I was to bet money, like real legitimate money, I'm going with Kansas. Josh Jackson's pretty darn good. Frank Mason's no slouch himself. It's hard to bet against him, but rarely has that team ever won. I mean, look at Kentucky a few years back. They didn't even make the final. But if I was to bet hard-earned legitimate money, I'm going with Kansas. I think my Oregon Duckies have a real shot at winning this too, and a real chance at going. I think if they can get past Kansas, that's almost the green light to where they can go all the way. I mean, because that's going to be their toughest matchup, their toughest game. But they got to get past Michigan first, and I could totally see Michigan beating them. Just like I can totally see Purdue beating Kansas for some reason. Like, there's some games where I think that can still happen. UCLA, Kentucky, I have no idea what to expect in that. I picked UCLA to beat Kentucky and then lose to North Carolina. But, stranger things happen. Who knows? Gonzaga can probably prove that they're deserving of a 1 seed and get through. I don't think they're going to. But it's a very good possibility. Who knows? Florida could be back. They beat Wisconsin and go. Like, there's so many possibilities. But those 5 teams are the ones I think have the real legitimate shots at winning it all. I have Oregon winning it. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw an Oregon-Arizona rematch. Like, that would just be hilarious because each team has won one matchup this year. Then, people say the Pac-12 is weak. Well, Pac-12 is looking pretty strong, or at least pretty top-heavy with their 3 teams. But, all right, that's all for the catch-up episode. I know it was a very long 20 minutes or so. But I'm just back. I'll be back to the weeklies, whether it be Sunday or Monday. Just want to get some catch up in, some opinions in there, get some in there. Thanks for listening, and I will see you guys. Until that time.
What time is it? Tea time!